Hey, there's a shadow there. Hi everybody, Nikki Burnett here with Taste Life Nutrition. I'm a functional nutritionist. I practice strategic, evidence-based nutritional consulting. And I have a new friend here. His name is Geof. His company is Phoenix Fitness Denver. And the great thing is he specializes in working with clients who have had weight loss surgery, which is really unique, and I love that. So teaching them what to do and how to do it, then the basics, and sustainability. I think that that's one of the biggest problems with these surgeries or any kind of weight loss plan is it sustainable, and it can be difficult without having a little bit of guidance and not knowing for sure what to do. So what we decided we wanted to do was just kind of chat about both of our businesses. He has some questions that relate to weight loss and functional nutrition and that kind of thing, and I've got some questions about what he does here. So I'm gonna shut up for a minute and let Geof talk, and we'll go from there.
Hi everybody, I'm Geof, I guess you already know that. Yeah, so if you probably hear an echo around, we're actually in my gym space.
Pretty orange, I love it.
So it's orange, so, and we're just in the corner, so I apologize for the echo that's going on right now. So my goal, my thing with fitness is working with beginners, and like Nikki was saying, I specialize in working with a lot of people that have gone through weight loss surgery, because it's such an important aspect of that procedure that they go through, is to be able to make sure that it's not just the weight loss surgery, but also getting consistent, frequent, and well-guided exercise in order to gain muscle mass and do some other things along that way. And the other part is the eating aspect of it. Even though they don't eat a lot, they still have a lot of very specific things, and that's one reason I like to talk with a lot of people that have a lot more information on nutrition than I do on it. So when I'm talking to Nikki, it's more along those lines. I just wanted to get more information from you on what you do, hopefully help other people sort of, if they ask sort of the same question, sort of have an idea of that. So for me, it was like, how did you get into the nutrition aspect where you are now? So what was the path to where you are now?
Well, that's kind of a long story.
You can shorten it if you need.
It's not that long. It just took me a long time to get here.
Right.
So, I have my master's in animal science, so I thought I was going to play with horses and dogs my whole life. Went from there, and so I've always been a science geek, total science geek. But when I was in college, I tell people, it was Dr. Pepper and Taco Bell all the time. I was the worst. But when I graduated, got out of school, and joined corporate America, I really became interested in nutrition. So I had studied nutrition it's been 20 years that I've studied nutrition on my own. But in that time, I was in the medical field, so I, did, I don't know how many different positions within the medical field, and have a pretty good understanding of a lot that goes on in the medical field. And then there came a time where, it just finally took over, that it was like, nutrition is where my heart is. I get excited about it. People ask me about it all the time. And it was just time for me to go back to school and, make sure that I had the science, that I knew what I was talking about. Because for me, just like with everybody else, how confusing is nutrition when you look at it online? When you go to WebMD or somebody's website, or you read a book that says, this book works for everybody, do this diet, which I hate the term diet, but do this and you'll lose, what the new one now is 16 pounds in 16 days. It's one of those, the weight loss.
Just drink water.
Right, exactly. I'm like, seriously, come on, let's think about this. And what is that 16 pounds that you're actually losing in 16 days, or it's 2 weeks? I don't know what it is, but it makes me crazy. Yeah. It's one of the new, big time commercials. Anyway, those things make me crazy because we are unique. We're unique in our genetics, in our environment, in how our bodies process stress, how we process nutrients, our health status. Everything about us is unique. Even if we have a twin that we're living with in the same environment, we think we're exactly the same. We're not. We're so different in who we are and how we are. And I think that that's the most important thing, and that's what I do, and I believe what Geof does when it comes to working with clients is individualized care. You know, that's why I do testing. That's why I want to understand what's going on in the body as far as what the body's telling us through these functional lab tests, because if I don't see that, I can't tell you what I think is best. I'm not going to sit across the desk and say, hey, why don't we try getting rid of gluten and see what happens, or let's try the supplement and see what happens. Just like Geof's not going to go, you know, I'm going to, you know, you have
let's
never
do burpees all day.
Yeah, let's do burpees all day when you've never, you know,
Right.
you know, walked a mile, whatever the case may be. So working with people as individuals, which is really, really important to both of us.
Yeah, I think that was part of why I liked when we were discussing doing this, and we were talking about things on how we sort of related a lot scientifically. I'm kind of a science geek,
Yeah.
a nerd myself. I find myself reading more research papers than I probably should, but it's true. I'm the same way when it comes to diet. I think the only diet you have is the one you have for the rest of your life, and it works for you, and
Right.
everybody's different. And I came into that when before I even met you. And it's sort of the same thing when it comes to exercise. Maybe doing similar exercises, but everybody's a little different. Everybody does. Some people have knee injuries, some people don't move as well, some people move better in one range and motion than another. So for me, and as a beginner, it can be very frustrating for a lot of people, because they'll see a lot of these exercises on YouTube and like, why can't I do that? And it's like, well, sometimes you need someone to look at you and progress you up to that point.
Right.
Or in some of my cases, I've had to look at clients and say, you just moving like that's probably not the best because of the injury you have or whatever
Right.
else. And we
Yeah.
work around that together to still be effective for what it is, which is, I guess, sort of the fitness side of the nutrition that you do in that
Yeah,
respect. It's sort
sure.
of figuring out what makes you individual and working with you as an individual to get you to your goal. And I know for me, as a trainer, one of the most exciting things is when my clients come in. I had a client earlier today came in and just said, I lost 2 pounds in 2 days, or two weeks, not 2 days, 2 weeks. Whoa. And there's something internal. It's beyond. It's almost like subconscious. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, is because you see that a little bit of success in the client, and which just gives you a motivation to want to do more with it. They
Yeah.
want to do more
Yes.
with it, and it.
Success pushes you forward.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be much. It just even just 2
Yep.
pounds or whatever, just and being able to see that what they call a non-scale victory. Just sometimes
Yeah.
it's like I walked up this flight of stairs without stopping, which is amazing for some
Yeah.
people. I love that. To me, as a trainer, that makes my day every time I see stuff like that. So that's why I think that's another reason I like to work with. I like to work with beginners because I like introducing people into fitness, getting them going, getting them excited, and moving them forward in that respect. So that's for me what it is.
Yeah. I know also, we were talking about this, you have, and is this it over here? No, you have your, what is it?
Oh, the in-body scan?
Yes.
Yes, that's in the other room.
Okay.
The in-body scan it's the in-body 570 to have the fancy term for it. And it's a bioimpedance scale. So you step on it, you hold your hands on the little handles, and it gives you a readout that shows not just your scale weight, but it also gives you how much water weight you have in you at the time you do the scan, how much muscle mass you have, how much fat mass you have. It shows where you hold muscle mass, so it shows how much muscle you have in each arm,
cool.
each leg, and your trunk. It shows how much fat you have in each arm, leg, and trunk. It gives you a fairly accurate basal metabolic rate, so you can sort of see where you are metabolically. And it gives you an estimate of visceral fat, which is, in large quantities, can be a really bad thing too.
Sure. Oh,
but
yeah.
At least for a lot of scales, it's
It's
like
the scariest fat.
it is the scariest
Visceral.
fat, and no one really even talks about it that much. And how and it's kind of neat because with my clients, you can progress and see how the training works in terms of and how their diet is working. You can see how much body fat mass they have and how much muscle mass, and over the diet and the training, how that all changes. So it's a really cool machine, and it takes 30 seconds to do the scan. So it's
That's really
fast.
cool. I have actually a couple of clients that I'm, that I need to send to you, that
Right.
I want to send to you, that we're just sort of starting getting, a lot of my clients are, they, have kind of, multiple comorbidities and, but really the end game is like, I want to lose weight. And so, and there's this argument, it's not an argument, but this back and forth. I know you want to lose weight. I want you to get healthy, right? So there's this, I have to explain to them, yes, that is the end goal, but
Right.
we have all of these steps to go through. But having something like that, where we can actually see what's going on, or see it as we make those strides. It's just like doing the labs. When
Right.
you see change and when you see what your body's telling you, whether it's doing the labs or doing the, what's it called again?
It's called an in-body scan.
In-body scan. Anyway, you're seeing success, even maybe if you don't feel it.
Right.
You're seeing it.
So, and the thing that's neat about that is the fact that my clients have changed their tune on when they stand on a scale now. For many years, and I know a lot of people do this, is when you step on a scale at home and it registers 5 pounds more, your first reaction is it's got to be body fat. So the first sort of, I've gained weight, it's all in fat.
Yeah.
And with this, it sort of shows you where you've gained weight. So with one of my clients,
So interesting.
one of my clients was in his 50s, and we've been working like crazy on getting muscle. He really wanted to build more muscle. He wanted to do some hiking, things along those lines. So we worked a lot on that. And he came in on the day that we were going to do a scan and do one like every 6 weeks with my clients.
Okay.
And he came in and he was just bummed. He said, I gained 5 pounds. And I was like, let's get on the scale before you just automatically think it's going to be body fat.
Yeah.
It turned out it was 4.5 pounds of muscle and 1/2 pound of water. So I think he'd lost 5 pounds of body fat,
That's
or 10 pounds or something. It was sort of, so it looked like he actually gained, I don't think I got my math right there, but whatever, it looked like he gained 5 pounds, but it was all muscle and water. And there was a light bulb that clicked. All of a sudden he's like, every time I get on scale, it doesn't have to be body fat. Oh, I drank a lot of water. It could just be that you're 2 pounds heavier in water.
Yeah.
And this is what's really cool about this. It really does, you get to see all the different aspects of what makes up your scale weight.
I love that.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Super fun. I'm going to put that on my list of things to do, is introduce you to a couple of my clients. And we can.
It's turned
get
on.
that.
I'm going to put you through it myself.
Oh, scary.
I have, sorry, I'm turning on the computer.
Yeah.
So when you work with a client, this is always interesting to me. So if as a client, you come in, obviously someone's new, they want to talk to you or me or whatever it is, but I'm always interested is like, what have you seen as successes a lot? When you look at some of your more successful clients, what habits have they had that are something that would be able to be transferred to other people, like just good ideas, things that they do more often than other people, you've shown to work a lot for them?
I think so much of it, it's hard because people have in their mind that they eat too much when really it's a chemical imbalance. They have in their mind that something that they're doing is wrong. When there are times when habits need to be changed, but it's so often the things that we're dealing with is a biochemical issue. It's not necessarily our fault, whether it's the chronic condition, whether it's for weight loss, whatever it is. But I think, and it sounds so simple, but one of the biggest things I believe that can make a huge difference is just an awareness. Let's be aware of when we eat, and I guess right now I'm mostly talking about for weight loss, because I know that's kind of what's a lot of what you deal with is weight
Right.
loss. But I'll move off of that a little bit. But right now, so for weight loss, when you eat, what you're eating, because sensitivities, if you have food sensitivities and you've had underlying chronic conditions, those things can make you gain weight. If you're highly stressed, and you're not meditating, you're not, bringing calm, if you're not, allowing your body to be in that rest and digest space when you're eating, you're not going to lose weight. And then we move off of that and we talk about the chronic conditions. Stress can create chronic conditions. Toxic load can create chronic conditions. We have genetics that there are genes that create extra weight. I mean, they've nailed them down. I think there are 5 or 6 or 7 of them. But there's so many things involved in chronic conditions, in being overweight, but being aware of what you're doing and how much, okay, so I feel like I'm kind of going in circles a little bit, but I'll give an example. I have a client who he's doing really, really well with he's got some pretty serious stuff going on, but one of his biggest things, he's like, I'm eating well, I'm doing all these things, I feel good, I can feel the inflammation going down.
Right.
He said, but I think I still eat too much. And I think that this is a struggle for lots of people, because even eating too much of a good thing can be too much, because it can start to create some problems. So all I tell him, and we've heard this our whole lives, but I'm going to tell you, it's amazing how well it works, because this is something that I have to do myself. I love food. I'm a nutritionist. Food is great, right? I mean, I want to eat.
I love it myself.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So sometimes we eat too much. And so literally paying attention to how much you're eating, get up from the table for 20 minutes and feel, before you're full, before you even start to feel full, just get up and go do something else for a minute. You can leave your plate. If you're hungry, go back to it. If you're still hungry,
Right.
go back to it. But leave it, because I guarantee you'll go, holy smokes, I don't really feel the need to eat. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're still hungry, and that's fine, so eat a little bit more. But I promise you that having that awareness of being full, it comes on. Now there's also a problem with something called leptin intolerance, leptin intolerance, where leptin tells us when we're full, and if we're having a problem with that, then sometimes it doesn't work as well. So there are other things that we need to do then to help that. But again, being aware of what you're putting on your plate, real food, real whole foods, not the processed stuff, and being in that rest and digest place where your body is ready to eat and ready to digest, and then just moderating.
Right.
But eating, eat when you're hungry, but don't eat when you're not.
Which is actually kind of interesting you said that, because that is actually so when people go through gastric bypass or something like that, they call it the tool. So there's things called rule of the tool, 2 rules that you need to follow once you've gone through this. The other reason I bring that up is one of those rules is you eat in about 15 or 20 minutes. And the goal being that if you eat in 15 or 20 minutes and feel satisfied, then you should be able to not have to eat again for another 3 hours or so. And the people that eat slowly over a course of an hour, you actually are eating more calories, because you're never getting full. So what you were just sort of saying is, eat, if you feel satisfied, you're done.
Right.
And if you're not, eat a little bit more, but block off a certain amount of time that's specific to eating. And then when you're done, you're like, okay, I feel good, I can go do something else, instead of feeling like, I'm still a little hungry, I'm gonna eat.
And
But
you're grazing.
Yeah, and you're never really feeling full.
Yeah.
So you're eating, but you're almost eating mindlessly, and you're probably eating more than you should.
Yep.
And I never connected it until you just like, because that's very much a rule by which, they also have a rule you can't drink when you eat, but
Is that because of enzymes?
it's a little bit more practical in terms of drinking while you eat will, in some ways it fills you up faster, but it also washes the food down quicker.
Okay.
So you feel hungry faster, because there's not a lot of space there already.
Sure. Okay.
So I don't think I don't think that has the same thing with somebody who has but anyway, but you just saying that was it was kind of interesting that is a rule that gets used a lot in the bariatric world, but I think that is something that could just be applied to anybody who wants to just be a little bit more aware of what you're eating. And that's sort of everything, just sort of being aware of what you're eating, what you're doing. I notice a lot of people in the exercise world become, as you become more aware of what you're doing, as you become more cognizant of putting exercise into your life, it becomes an easier thing to do.
Yeah.
And for people that are wanting to start exercising, I always say there will be the point, if you're consistent, where it goes from I have to I want to. And I say that all the time, and I always see people look at me and go, yeah, Geof, that's not me, it's never gonna happen that way. but it really does happen. At some point, if you keep with the consistency of it and you're doing it right, if you're not doing it to the point where it's miserable, but you're still feeling like you're getting a good workout, over a course of time, there'll be a week that you go on vacation, you do something along the lines where you don't work out, and there'll be that time you, I really wish I could work out, and that's when you've been, you're screwed. Then you're in for the exercise for the rest of your life.
Well, you can feel it when you start to feel good. You know it. And so I think that if you don't exercise for a period of time, whether it's a couple of days or a week, your body is going, I need to feel that way again, because you can feel yourself going backwards.
You can a little bit, and it's a good addiction to have with intolerances. I'll put that out there too. So for me, that's a lot to do with that. And I assume you don't work with do you typically, your clients are mostly weight loss clients? Do you work with some that are trying to gain weight? Or just
I've actually, when I work with people that are trying to gain weight, usually it's because of other underlying chronic issues. Okay. So usually it's gut. Right. So much gut stuff coming on. People are, I've had multiple clients come to me that, there's something that was triggered, and this happens a lot. When I work with people, I do timelines, and, there's like something that triggered all of this GI distress, and then they're not absorbing their nutrients, and they're they're losing weight. There are some that will gain weight. You're losing your nutrients, and your body will hold on to the excess weight. But some people waste away. I had a client, I've had a couple that were close to 90 pounds as adult women, taller than I am. I'm not that tall, but if I was 90 pounds, I would be a bone. Right. I mean, it's just not very much. And so, it's still kind of the same thing. My goal is to find their healthy place, and in their healthy place, they will gain weight. The weight will find its own balance wherever it's supposed to be. Yeah. Right.
Adaptive thermogenics.
Yeah.
And that brings up sort of when people is kind of I did these connections are just it's sort of the same thing again. People are losing weight fast through the surgery, and in
really
a way,
fast.
and in a way, it's similar, I guess, to someone who's going through something that's more chronic and health related, that they're losing weight faster than they can put it back on. I assume is what that is, and that's where I come into a lot of play with a lot of people about their muscle mass, and it's sort of the gaining the weight. It's eating right, but if you can do some kind of strength training involved with that, I would think that would be a good thing, because it's just when you can put on muscle, you can move better, which makes you feel better. It makes you feel more active. It doesn't even have to be a lot of muscle. It's just sort of the act of doing something. It's against some kind of resistance. I've noticed, at least for people that are dropping weight very rapidly, it's a great thing to add into it. I don't know if that works with your client base after a while, or if it's something that just wouldn't work at all.
I think it always works.
Right.
I mean, I think getting to the gym, however it works for you, whether it's, actually doing weights or doing the, now I've lost it. What's I'm such a mess. What is it, when you use the ropes and the bands?
Oh, the resistance bands?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Or yoga, or walking, running, hiking.
Anything.
Mountain climbing.
Right.
I mean, I think that we're built to move.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And you don't have to do a lot. It's not like you have to go out and feel like you have to do an hour 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
If your energy level's not there, that's fine. Just do what you can. I always say, especially when someone's just coming out of it, is to set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
If you feel that you can do 20 minutes of something, whether it's just a walk, and you feel happy that you did it, then you'll do it again, because you're like, I did it, I can do it again. But if you've already got this daunting task of, I've got to go to the gym for an hour and a half, or I'm going to Gunter's Zumba class, and I hate Gunter. I don't know who Gunter is. I don't like him either myself. Sorry, Gunter. But your Zumba class is really hard. But if that's going to be overwhelming for you, then don't do it. Just choose something that you will do, and then progress slowly from there, and you'll notice a difference.
So it makes me think of, how Pilates was born, essentially, were people that were bedridden.
Right.
And getting those people that are bedridden moving.
Yeah.
And so, there are things that can be done,
Yes.
In I would say most situations. I'm sure there are some where you have to not exercise for a time, but In most situations, it's pretty important.
I've always said that the only person that ever doesn't need more muscle mass is maybe an 18-year-old male, because you're all testosterone at 18. It
Right.
takes just a second to get muscle. But the rest of the planet, you can never have enough muscle.
Right.
I mean, so always being able to put that in, and that's sort of where I've always focused a lot of my training, is adding that in, because it's just such an important aspect of being fit and being well as you go through that.
Yeah.
So,
And aging.
especially aging, nobody wants to be the shuffly old person that's walking around. You know, and even if you feel like you're if you feel like you're in your late 60s and you're a female, you're like, it's too late for me. It isn't too late for you. And as a matter of fact, strength training is even more important as a female as you get older, just because of osteoporosis and all the stuff that goes along with that. Yeah, I know I could go on and on about it. So
I know.
I'll be quiet. But it really is, to me, it's kind of a passion. It's like you really need to add that into your life.
Yeah.
So
something I want to add just real quick, and I say this a lot, but for anybody that hasn't heard it, when he mentioned osteoporosis, we are told that in order to either not deal with osteoporosis, or if we are diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, that we're supposed to eat more calcium, take calcium supplements, as well as vitamin D and K and magnesium. Those aren't enough cofactors for calcium to be put back into the bone matrix. There are a lot of things. We have to have enough hydrochloric acid. We have to have all of the cofactors that go along with calcium in order to be put back into the bone. And taking calcium, if it doesn't have its cofactors and all of the things that it needs, what's going to happen? It's going to sit in the breast tissue. It's going to sit in the heart tissue, in the kidneys, in our vascular system, in the brain. These things will calcify. So we have lots and lots of chronic conditions, and a lot of times we're like, well, why is this happening? What's going on? Supplementation isn't always a good thing, so we want to be really careful. Rarely is our problem low calcium. It could be a problem of low magnesium, could be a problem of many of the cofactors. So just be really careful if you're taking a calcium supplement. I have rarely put any of my clients on a calcium supplement. Again, this is why I test. I want to be very, very careful about the supplements, the right supplements. Supplements are not benign. Supplements are obviously therapeutic, but just to go out willy-nilly and take something because that's what you heard you're supposed to do is not necessarily a good thing. So just be really, really aware of that. I try to say that as often as I can, even if it's just a little bit off topic, because I need for people to hear that we have to be so careful with taking calcium supplements.
Right, just getting things right for you.
Right.
Which goes back to what you do.
Yes.
Making sure you have the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Cool. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I've bored them well enough.
No.
You've entertained them. I've bored them a lot.
Oh, come on. No, I think this was great. And I love the fact that Geof specializes with the weight loss clients that have gone through surgery, because I feel like, not being really close to that industry, but I've heard a lot. I have a little bit of experience with it. There's not a lot of guidance. Once they are finished with the surgery, it's kind of like, okay, I'm losing all this weight. Now what do I do? And then the weight comes back, and these things,
That's pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why I got into this part. That's why I started specializing, is because I was noticing that people weren't. That the doctors were saying go exercise, and some people, they knew exactly what to do, but most people were like, I can get on a treadmill, or I can do this, and for those people that go through this procedure, they'll lose weight and then they'll gain it back if they don't make the changes that need to be made. And if there's no one there to help them along the way, it becomes much more frustrating, much less successful long term.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to try to change that.
Yeah. I think, the end goal obviously is sustainability, but then learning how to create the habits and the new habits, whether it's what are the right foods for me, what are the right exercises for me, and something that we talked about, which I think is super cool, is what kind of exercise is it that makes me happy and makes me want to get out there and exercise? If I don't feel like I want to do squats every day or every other day, but I'd rather go hike or, you know, climb a 14er, then that's what we need to do. And so if I remember correctly, that's something that Geof will do with his clients. If they say, okay, my end goal is to start climbing 14ers, Geof will go climb the 14ers with him. And so
Still waiting for someone to kayak. If anybody
kayaking.
I don't know how to
Love it.
kayak. I want to go with somebody kayaking. Sorry.
No, it's good. You put it out there, right? So anyway, as always, if you have questions, you can post them below. Hey, Casey. You can post them below. You can go to my website, tastelikenutrition.com. You can go to Geof's website. It's just
PhoenixFitnessDenver.com. PhoenixFitnessDenver.com.
Look him up if you have any questions. If you know anybody or you yourself are a beginner or have gone through a weight loss procedure, this is a great way to get started, a great place to come. Let us know if there are other questions that you have, if there are other topics that you want to talk about, whether from me or from Geof, and we're happy to talk about them. So I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend and you hugged a soldier, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.